And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing well. That was the craziest thing I just had happen. Now, obviously, we do the stream and I had my whole setup. Well, allegedly, I guess my brother was trying to, I guess, airplay his computer, but took over my screen. So literally, as soon as the music came on for us to start the show, I was being quote unquote hacked. Not really, but you guys get what I'm saying. Anyway, glad to be here. Going to be a little bit different today. Our main man Chase is out of town taking care of some family business, so we're praying for him and his family as they take care of some personal things that they've got going. So Chase, we're thinking about you and your family, and looking forward to when you do get back. But I want you to do what you got to do in this time. But in the meantime, we will be joined by Jaisha behind the glass. Jaisha, I don't think have you produced my show before?
I think once last semester, but it was when you were coming in person.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And I think you also did one of the pregame shows that we do.
Yes, I did.
Absolutely. Well, good deal. Well, everybody's probably familiar with you because you do. What other shows do you host?
Mainly Ryan's show, Ryan Fowler.
Oh, good deal. All right, so everybody's probably already familiar with it. But if you're not, Jaisha is great behind the glass. She'll do a phenomenal job, just like our main man Chase typically does. This is Talking Tuesday, so I got to remind you guys, we are looking to go to you guys, 205-342-9904. It hadn't had anything big really come up that I wanted to hit on, but there were a couple of videos that I did want to react to and talk about today. Obviously, yesterday we talked a lot about the John Gruden, Ryan Williams video. Thought it was really interesting. We got a lot of good football knowledge from that. A couple other videos that I found that I want to break down, Alabama based, so we'll definitely dive into that. But per usual, Talking Tuesday means you guys are the co-hosts, so we want to hear from you guys. Want you guys to lead the way. If you guys got anything that you've been wondering about, I know yesterday we had some questions about Florida State in the chat. Maybe we could kind of take an early preview at Florida State. But again, we urge you guys to hit us up and join in on the show. You can also download that Tide 100.9 app completely free. Apple App Store, Google Play Store, all that good stuff. You can download it for free. Listen to the show from anywhere you're at. And plus, you can leave app messages and easily call in. You just click a button and immediately call in the show. Plus, we are live on YouTube. Shout out to everybody that tunes into the stream. If you guys prefer a visual, always encourage you guys to check us out at the Miller's Edge on YouTube. You can watch me do the show. You can watch the videos that we play and interact with everybody else that's in the chat. So always cool to have you guys do that. Plus, you can always leave your questions, comments, and concerns right there for us as well. Jaisha, I might as well play a little bit of a get to know you game a little bit. I know we've met several times. You worked on the show, but how'd you get into the space? Because I've seen that you've been covering a lot of stuff. Were you at the NFL draft? Is that right?
Yes, so I've covered 2 Super Bowls, 2 NFL drafts, and 2 combines by now.
Dang. So you got a lot of experience with that. How was the draft this past year?
I loved it. I would definitely say I like Detroit set up better, but I like the hype and the crowd that Green Bay brought this year. Like the players, they were excellent. I think we got more of the goofier batch this year because when we were doing interviews, like they were quick to crack jokes and everything. So it was really great.
Man, that sounds like I'm surprised you said Detroit. No disrespect to Detroit if we got anybody listening from Detroit. Detroit's it's an interesting place. It's not probably the most popular place to go, but I guess when they're holding a draft, I mean, really, they could probably turn any place into a fun venue. But Green Bay, you talking about just kind of the atmosphere, that doesn't shock me. I mean, number one, they've got some of the liveliest, most passionate fans in that area, right? Yeah. So I mean, I can only imagine that was fun. I've only been to one draft, and that was the draft that I was in. But I was there doing some events and stuff leading up to it, and I left by draft day. I wasn't there, but even just what they had going on leading up to it, and this one was in Nashville back in 2019. They did a really nice job. It was a really fun experience. Everything that was going on around, everything that they put on for, us players that were there in town during that week was really cool. But you also said you covered 2 Super Bowls, so I'm assuming you covered this past one in New Orleans. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Then what was the other one?
Last year in Las Vegas.
Dang. How are those 2?
they were very exciting. I will say I enjoyed this year's more because it was so many Bama guys to interview. I had the opportunity to interview Jalen Hurts and Smitty, and then tried to get the other Bama guys, but my gosh, media was just it was an everyday thing because you would interview like the Eagles maybe at 8 a.m. and then the Chiefs maybe at 9 or 10, and then go do whatever you have to do during the day, and then
Hmm.
maybe one more media session. Sometimes they would do like one more at night. That was like the coaches or the coordinators and stuff like that. And then the next morning you had to be up super early again. I actually got this is a funny story. I think it was probably the second day of media availability. There
Hmm.
was a sign that literally said I could park there. Well, by the time I got out of that hotel and got done doing everything I needed to do for the day and talk to everybody I need to talk to, it was like 5 p.m. I'm walking up and down New Orleans. I'm like, I know what my car looks like. It's very detailed. Where the heck is my car? It's not where I parked it. So, anyways, I got
Oh
towed.
gosh.
So the people in New Orleans in New Orleans had to put me on. They were like, "Yeah, when we host big events, they get you out of towners." One lady, she literally showed me a video of my car getting towed. Like this restaurant owner, she said they got everybody else on this strip, so I had to pay $200 to get my car back.
Dang.
Yeah, my dad found it funny. My mom,
Wow.
not as much, but
Wow. Normally, I feel like it's the other way around. Normally, I feel like the dad uh, would be a little bit more strict on that, or be a little more upset, and the mom would probably think it's funny. But you said it was the other way around. Anytime you get told, it's not fun. I mean,
it's not.
Tuscaloosa is known for that as well. I mean, it especially, well, at least game day, that time, around that time, if you park in the wrong spot, man, you're out of luck. I mean, I even had the craziest incident, man. I mean, like there is literally a medical emergency, and we had to leave a car, and they towed it, and I tried to explain that to them, like, hey, man, there's a medical emergency. Like literally, we had no choice. And kid you not, the tow company was like, oh well, it's not our problem.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's just the craziest thing. They don't care. They don't care. But it sounds like other than that, you had a fun experience. I've never been to a Super Bowl. Obviously, I never played in one, but I've never actually been to one. The game itself, did you get to attend that?
so I attended last year's game. I didn't attend this year's. And that was on me because the way that you have to get credentials for the Super
Mhm.
Bowl is not as easy for the draft and the combine. There's like two different applications you have to go through. Last year I had a contact that was able to just give me credentials and get to the game. This
Nice.
year I went under Tide, so I didn't know that you had to go through like 2 to 3 different applications to get to the actual game, interview
Mhm.
the players, because the credentials you use to interview the players is not the same as the game day credentials. I didn't know that.
Makes
But
sense.
I did have somebody that I knew that was like, "Oh well, just cover it from the Eagles hotel since like that's mainly who you're here for." Even though I'm a Chiefs fan actually, but that weekend,
Dang.
I put my Chiefs hat to the side and I was like, I'm mainly here to cover the Eagles. So yeah, I had somebody that was like, you can just cover it from there. And I actually was sitting beside Quinion Mitchell's family, and then I met one of the guys' dad that like the kid works for like the equipment department and everything. But it was still a great experience. It was still a crowd, still rowdy, met some great people, great connections and stuff. But I will say if you have the opportunity to go to a Super Bowl and
Mhm.
actually go to the game, it's a different experience. It's way different than a college game or a regular NFL game. It's like everybody comes out, even if their team is not playing, and they're the craziest, rowdiest people you can meet. But they're really great people.
No, that sounds like it. I'm glad you got those experiences. I mean, it sounds like you're already just flying up the ranks of things. I mean, that's really cool. Yeah, I need to attend one. I can only imagine Super Bowl just being insane. Especially, I mean, teams like that. I mean, the Chiefs. You said you're a Chiefs fan. I mean, I don't know how many games you might have actually been to there, but their stadium. I mean, they're known for loud, passionate fans as well. So I mean, I can only imagine how that would be. But yeah, no, that sounds cool, man. That's really cool. I'm glad you got to do that. hopefully there's many more Super Bowls for you in the future. Where's the Super Bowl this upcoming year?
It's
Am I?
in California.
Is it in LA?
No, it's in I believe San Fran is hosting next.
Nice, nice. I don't know why I was thinking LA. Maybe I was another year. Well, anyway, well that's good to know. That's good to know. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. I definitely will put that on one of my bucket list things of making a Super Bowl, but it'll have to be a good one. I'm gonna wait till it's like I don't know, something that I feel like is worth it because I can only imagine. I don't know how it works when you're using credentials, but in terms of ticket prices, the prices that I've been seeing for tickets now, I'd hope that I'd at least know somebody that's got some type of connections.
Yeah.
But I bet it could probably add up pretty quick.
Well, I go the credential route. I'm not paying for it.
Yeah, I don't blame you one bit. Real quick before we hit this first time, I got to remind you about our friends over at the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport experts. Again, if you guys are in any type of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain, you name it, check out the Good Feet Store. Let them take care of you like they've been taking care of me. You just throw these Arch Sports in your shoes. It's that easy, and they get to work, clinically proven to knock out that pain, eliminate and alleviate all of that pain in just 4 short weeks. You can find them here in Tuscaloosa in Midtown Village, right off of McFarland Boulevard, or you can always go to their website, goodfeet.com, where you can schedule an appointment and find the nearest location. You just type in your zip code right there, as you guys can see on the YouTube stream. But again, it's a 3-step process, but even better is try before you buy, nothing to lose. You just walk on in there. They'll show you your impressions of your arches. They'll take care of you. They even had foot massagers last time I went in there, so you definitely would enjoy that. So check out the Good Feet Store. Again, that is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. It's Talking Tuesday, 205-342-9904. We want to hear from you guys, or you can always drop those questions, comments, and concerns in the app inbox or on the YouTube chat. But we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we get rolling right here on this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas.
What's up,
Use
Tristan?
promo code
What's
RADIO
up,
to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Weather brought to you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 27 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-7503.
Get summer started right for the family at the Seafood and Crawfish Summer Kickoff Darty at the venue June 7th. The Darty starts at noon and rolls on till 6 p.m. Admission is free, and we have 3 different bands entertaining. Not only does the venue have 2 new restaurants, Santo Taco and Uncle Nick's Italian Eatery, but we have recruited a cameo appearance from a Cajun seafood restaurant. Shrimp, crab, crawfish, and more. Join us June 7th. Visit venuetuscaloosa.com for more information.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very warm afternoon with a good supply of sunshine, the high at 88. Tonight, mostly fair with the low at 70. Warm again tomorrow, partly sunny. A few spots could see an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. The high tomorrow at 88. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 82 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, Talking Tuesday edition of the show. Again, urging you guys to get in on the conversation. But let's go ahead and jump in. Why don't we? All right. So as you guys know, we like listening to others, like breaking videos and stuff down. Well, obviously, a friend of ours, Josh Pate, he's always posting some good content. And he posted a video, I believe it was last night, something like that. But anyway, it's about the state of college football. And I thought it was interesting, and it really caught my attention because, number one, we're in that period where it's the summer, period. Obviously, football's not really going on. I guess technically I should say this. Football is going on, right, Jaish? You got the USFL championship game, I think, is coming up. The Birmingham Stallions are playing in that again. Is that right? Does that sound right to you? Pretty sure it is. But anyway, Birmingham Stallions, who seem to be dominating that league, I'm pretty sure they're playing in the championship.
Right, they're the Birmingham Stallions.
They're playing in it.
I know they won against Memphis, maybe like 40-10 or something. This past game they had, it was a blowout.
Dang, I just can't believe. I mean, they're playing for another. Yeah, look, USFL Conference Championship. Okay, so they'll play the Panthers on June 8th. I get confused though because wait. Oh, okay, that's for the conference. Okay, okay, that's what it is because they split. There's the XFL conference and the USFL. So they're okay. I was about to say, but still, they're on the verge of maybe winning yet another championship. At some point, it makes you wonder, like, are they going to break that team up or do something? It seems like they're a little dominant. And shout out to, they actually have some former Bama guys. I know Big Cornbread, Deontay Brown. He plays offensive line for them. And Shaheem Carter, I saw, was playing with them. I'm trying to think of who else. I know obviously Bo Scarborough retired. He's working with Coach Cochran now. But I'd imagine there might be another guy or two on that roster. I know it was Isaiah Buggs that he ended up signing with the team, but I think he's who is he with? It's a team out of Dallas. Not Dallas. There's a Dallas. It's in Texas, one of the Texas teams. But anyway, we need to really look into that. There's probably a lot more guys that I know playing in that league now than I would think. But anyway, so that football is going on, but obviously college football, NFL is not, which means, we're in the dog days of summer. We're, talking about issues and things, whether the CFP is going to change, what's going to happen. Well, Josh Pate posted this video about the state of college football. And I thought it was interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, because of everything that's going on, all the changes that are being discussed, all the meetings, the SEC, Greg Sankey coming out saying a number of things, but also because the more you really dive into kind of what's going on and really learning what's going on. I mean, over the weekend when I was up there, when my brother was playing for the whole official visit weekend, I was, just, talking to a lot of, friends and folks that I know up there, a lot of coaches and whatnot. And I just was learning more and more about really the state of kind of what's happening in college football. A lot of the stuff I didn't even realize. For example, like the true effect of like this whole lawsuit that's going on, how, people are really in limbo about that, not really knowing, what the final verdict's going to be, how that could affect their team. I mean, it has a big effect on, rosters and how things look moving forward. A lot of people are kind of walking on, eggshells because they really don't know what's going to happen. And so this video that Josh posted is about the state of college football right now. And the other point to this is that the more I kind of, and I've been saying this over the past couple months, especially I felt this way a little bit during the spring. But to me, something just feels a little bit different. Jaish, I don't know if you also feel this, but it just doesn't feel like the interest level is nearly as high as it once was with college football. I don't know if that's because, Coach Saban retired and first year post Saban, we didn't make the playoffs. It wasn't our prettiest year. Again, we've been discussing that, but I don't know if maybe that's why it feels a little less. I don't know if it's because of the whole NIL thing that's been going on. I don't know if it's just in general, people are just kind of over just where we're at with college football. Have you kind of felt that, or do you still feel like everything's still what it has always been, Jaisha?
I definitely think it's different. And I kind of think NIL plays a part in it. I actually just had a conversation with somebody about this an hour ago. Sometimes like these recruits, they're making false promises, and then maybe some of these universities are making false promises, and it's just like nobody can come to an agreement. And then certain players you may have been excited about seeing on a team play next season, they're not even there. They've entered the transfer portal, and maybe it's over money, or maybe it's because of their attitude or whatever. But I definitely think it's a difference. And I will say Nick Saban being absent from college football has made it different. Nick Saban was my childhood. I grew up on Nick Saban. It's definitely different on Saturdays to not see him on the sideline. But I just think the issue is now sometimes money may get in the way of things. So it can bring a lot of confrontation.
I agree 100%. I think it's kind of turning a lot of fans off just knowing exactly what you said. I mean, even somebody made a comment even about recruiting. A couple of our listeners have made this comment that like even recruiting, like nobody really wants to really get as not necessarily involved, but as invested, I should say, with it for exactly what you just said. I mean, it almost feels like it's not organic anymore, right? I mean, even Kirby was just talking about this, how, I mean, guys are literally being paid to commit to a school and stay committed. Now, he did say, which I thought was really interesting, if these guys decommit, that they're expected to return that money that they've received. That's interesting to me because I'm like, is there, some type of written documentation or some legal binding agreement that they do have to give that back? A lot of the times that stuff's not necessarily pen to paper, at least at that level. But I agree with you. I think people are kind of just over it because it's like, we don't want to get excited about this guy because, I mean, all it takes is somebody coming in last second with a whole hell of a lot of money and offering a kid saying, hey, we got this for you. And that's literally what's happening. I mean, I've talked with various people that have said, I mean, the reality of this business right now is, I mean, if somebody wants somebody bad enough, it's just a stroke of a pen. It's that easy. And you're seeing, guys really, choose schools based on that. And I think that's why we run into the problems down the road with the transfer portal, because these guys are not choosing schools for the right reason. They're choosing it for the wrong reasons, which I guess, I mean, money could be a right reason if that's something that's that important to you and you feel like it's something that you and your family really need at that moment. But I just always urge people to think about, I mean, the investment of it, right? I mean, this don't even, I mean, this advice my dad gave me doesn't even apply anymore. Like when I was coming out of high school, like he used to always remind me, like, well, remember to think about it. It's not just a 4-year decision. It's a 40-year decision, right? He was the type of guy, he's from South Carolina. He's from a small town called Pageland that's not known for anything but watermelon fields, which he used to, pick watermelons all the time. But what I'm getting at is he went to the University of South Carolina, had a hell of a career. He's in the Hall of Fame down there, played in the NFL, all that good stuff. But when he got finished playing, where'd he go? He went back to Columbia, where he went to school at the University of South Carolina. He did media. He did all types of things. Very similar, pretty much I'm doing very similar things, right? I mean, I played here, still very much involved with the Alabama, community stuff. I work with broadcasting with the football team. I host a show covering the team. But nowadays that advice doesn't even really, it's not even relevant, right? Because I mean, these guys go to a school, they're there a year or two, they might transfer to a third school. I don't even know where they end up going back to. But anyway, to me, I think you're 100% right. A lot of people are kind of just, they're not really wanting to invest too much in it because it's like they don't want to be too emotionally invested and then get let down when a kid just ups and leaves. Because I even saw a comment, somebody saying, I mean, like before it was exciting. Like, we watched the recruitment of a player. We're waiting to see, where he ultimately ends up. Hopefully he ends up here. He comes here. We get to watch him grow and develop and then see, how he leaves, right? Like, oh, we remember this guy, like use me for an example. I came out of high school. A lot of people are excited. I was the top recruit in the state of South Carolina. One of the highest ranked outside linebackers in the country that year. Not to boast or anything. I'm just talking about this example. People probably were like, oh man, we can't wait for Christian to get here. I had to develop. It took me 2 years at least to really get to a point where I was ready to actually make a real contribution, right? First year I redshirted. Second year I was playing some special teams. And then my third year I was ready. But anyway, what I'm getting at is by the time my senior year came, I mean, I had added 40 pounds, looked like a totally different person, totally different player, was physical against the run. I mean, was threat off the edge. And I can only imagine that was probably fun for people to see. And people say that all the time. Like, oh man, remember, when you got here, when you left, stuff like that. You don't really get that luxury anymore because you don't even know how long guys are going to be here. So it's definitely different. Let's look at the chat. We've got Tristan here, Mr. Morris here. We got Carson, but Carson's got a comment what we're talking about. He says, there's no reason to buzz the way we did in the past because of the landscape. I remember being excited about a commitment from a 5-star recruit, and now there's no reason for the excitement because of all the flip-flopping and the decommitments. So there you go. So, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And that's echoing what we were saying. So I get it. Well, with that being said, we're about to hit this timeout. When we come back, we'll listen to this video from Josh Pate and really break it down, kind of the state of college football. It also goes into talking about kind of some of the rule changes and the, potential changes in the CFP. But yeah, I mean, I guess my question is to you guys, does stuff still feel different to you guys, or is it kind of getting back? The good news is we're still recruiting well, right? Which is good. That is exciting, but I get what you're saying, Carson. I mean, you never know. I mean, who's going to stick around and who's not. The good news is, I will say this before we go to break. The good news is if you're worried about roster retention for us and our ability to retain, I'm pretty sure we were the only school to not have a single scholarship guy transfer in the spring portal. And if we weren't the only school, we were one of only a few, but I'm pretty sure we were the only school. So what that means is, doesn't mean that we're completely safe from that in the future, but clearly the culture that Coach DeBoer and his staff are building here and building off of, that was, here prior, is really strong. It's got a strong foundation. These guys actually are really buying into what they're doing here. Because again, nobody left in that spring window, which was really impressive, especially given the number of talent that we have, right? I mean, it'd be different if we were at a small school and, there wasn't, many guys, right? We're at the University of Alabama. That means there's a plethora of good players, right? At least if you go off of rankings and then also just the guys that have shown what they can do. And still nobody chose to go in the portal. So that is the good news. That's a good sign. All right, we got to hit this timeout. We come back. We go to the state of college football video from Josh Pate. We discuss it. We react. But again, it is a Talking Tuesday, 205-342-9904. You guys are the host, so we want to get y'all's thoughts on everything that we're discussing right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and... Excuse me. Oh, I'm still excited. Don't get me wrong. We're cooking in Tuscaloosa, and the guys are locked in. It's just different. Yeah, no, 100%. I totally get that. Yeah, I think people definitely still are excited, but it's just probably a little bit different. I feel like I ask this question like once every couple months, but it's just like I feel like it just keeps getting like, I don't know. Like you would think that it would pick up a little bit, given that like, all right, football is kind of, it's not back, but workouts are back going on. Like there's some things coming up, but I don't know. It just feels like there's been a little bit of a shift.
Coaches, athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you, aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
The Home Depot has fast, free delivery on the perfect gift to help Dad do more this Father's Day. Because Dad is more than just a dad. He's groundskeeper of the yard, the perfecter of the patio, and the cleaner of the clippings. Power Dad's doing with Ryobi cordless outdoor power tools from the Home Depot. Like the Ryobi 40-volt string trimmer kit for $159. For everything Dad is, find the perfect gift at the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see homedepot.com/delivery for more details.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, now it's time to go to this video on the state of college football. Just like we just gave a little preview, me and Jaisha were talking about how things feel a little bit different. Let's hear what Josh Pate feels about the state of college football.
The state of college football, funny thing right now. State of college football is such that I went off on this on the last show. And it's a very complex situation Because if you know me, you know I've got my beefs about where we are, just like the rest of you do. And I've been outspoken on some of them, and they're familiar themes on the show. But here's where I've always come back to. My North Star on all this has been, what does Saturday feel like? For all the complaints I have here and there and everywhere in between, as long as my Saturdays in the fall still feel like Saturdays in the fall, you've still got the sports you love.
Do you agree with that, Jaisha? I'm going to pause that real quick. He's basically saying, like we just talked about, recruiting feels a little bit different. The level of interest in the offseason feels a little bit different. But he says as long as, Saturdays still feel the same, he's good with it. What do you say about that, Jaisha?
I think that's somewhat true because, like, players can say this or do this or whatever, but until you prove it on the field or you can back it up, then I'm just gonna go based off the field. Like now, if a kid say, "Oh, they're committed to Alabama 100% or whatever," I'll say, "Okay, it's about a 50% chance they're going to stay." Now, if they go all the way with the team through this season or whatever, okay, now in my eyes, you're locked in because we've seen, like I said, kids commit and then they flip. Maybe not within the next month, a week. We just saw with one of the kids at Oregon. He was literally jumping in the pool with Dan Lanning and 24 to 48 hours later, he's no longer committed there. So, yeah, I'm just gonna have to stick to what I see on the field now.
Yeah, no, I understand. I guess I would sound pretty much with that too. I mean, as long as game days and that true, season feel is still there, because we all look forward to that, right? Like we all sit there and count the days, watch the clock, mark the calendars until football season's back. Because football, the life is just good with football. You know what I mean? Like, I think as long as that's, protected, that's staying the same, we should be good. But we talked about this a little bit last week on the show. And after talking with some more folks, things could start looking a little bit more different. I still think everything should be the same. But in terms of developments with how do I say this? Basically, with all the ways to monetize things that could happen in the future. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if you start seeing some stuff like patches on jerseys, field advertising, similar to what we see. Chase would probably know a little bit more. Me and Chase are big wrestling fans. I don't know if you've seen wrestling, Jaisha, but long story short, wrestling now, they were bought out by a bigger company, the company that owns UFC. And if you've ever seen UFC, I mean, they've got all the logos in the ring. Well, now wrestling has never had that. Like WWE has never had that. Now, what are they doing? They're putting logos and sponsors all over the place to make more money. I think that could potentially come to college football in terms of, trying to make more revenue, because again, with this new lawsuit with revenue sharing stuff, they're going to be looking for ways to generate more money. Because one thing I did not realize was with this lawsuit and this whole thing about the $20.5 million that players can then be, I guess, receive from these universities is literally just that. It's from the university. I was thinking, Jaisha, like the whole the new thing that they've been talking about with the revenue sharing, $20.5 million allotted to student athletes. Excuse me. I was thinking that was coming from like I don't know, some TV deal, something, whatever. I don't know why I didn't put two and two together, but after speaking with some people, what I learned was that $20.5 million that universities are going to be allowed to share with their student athletes, that is coming from the budget of the university. So basically, take the budget that they spend right now and go ahead and just put a big dent for $20.5 million in that. That's what's going to be coming to college football. And that's why I think things can start to look a little bit different. Hopefully game days and experiences like that don't look too much different. But that is something that I finally understood. And maybe other people were like, oh, dude, you didn't recognize that? I didn't realize it literally was saying like, all right, out of their budget, they can spend up to $20.5 million. I was thinking there was like some like new TV deal or something that they were saying, all right, we're going to share this. You get what I'm saying? I thought it was coming from some external source, Jaisha, but what I found out is literally no, that's just from the budget from each university. So as you can imagine, what these schools are doing right now is that's why they're stressed out, because they're trying to figure out, hey, we need to clear our budget. We need to find a way to make sure we have $20.5 million. Because think about this. football and some men's basketball teams are the only programs really that generate, positive revenue, right? Like the rest of these teams and these sports, they lose money. And so now that's what the universities are going to be facing. And we can dive into this in a little bit. I'm gonna let the video play some more, but that was one thing I forgot to mention that I learned over the weekend, and it makes a lot of sense why a lot of schools are going to be shuffling things around, because $20.5 million, not every school just has an extra $20.5 million to do the revenue share thing. And what's going to happen if they don't do that? They're not going to keep up, because other schools are going to have the advantage of being able to do that, and other schools might not. And that's why there's a threat on some of these other sports potentially if this is not done correctly, because obviously those sports are using up money and they're not making money. That's how this whole thing can get really messy. So college football, really college athletics in general, with this whole lawsuit that's going on, that's not finalized. It's really shaking things up for a lot of schools. Let's continue with the video.
And my stance is I'm on the road every week at the biggest game in the country. Those games still feel like they always have. The tailgate scene still looks like it always has. The vibe in the building still feels like it always has. Third down in a key moment still feels like it always has. The fight songs and whatnot, the student section, like it still feels the same to me. So college football is still good. Like its core is still good. There may be 37 things that suck right now, but the core is still good. So I put that up.
How much should good
car? There's an ad, but I get what he's saying. I do agree that as long as those things are good, stuff feels solid. I still don't want it to get too far gone, but all right, let's continue with the video.
Twitter this morning, actually. Normally Sunday's a light traffic day, but I took a video from the last show. I'm going to show it to you in a second. But I said college football is messy, but when anyone claims it's ruined, I always ask the same questions. Do fall Saturdays feel the same? And I'll show you this clip. It was from another segment on the show, and I kind of went down this road, and I thought it was a good standalone video, so I clipped it. I put it out this morning. I'm going to have Colin play it for you to remind you what I said, and then I'm going to show you so many people disagreed with this, and I think we got to acknowledge there may be some merit to it. But first, here's what was said to prompt all of this. There's Ohio State. Let's say Michigan's in town. And let's say it's midway through the third quarter and they're deadlocked at 17 and it's 4th and 1 on your own 38-yard line and they're opting to go for it. The clock's ticking down, huddle breaks, 5, 4, 3, crowds at full throat. Just pause right there. Is anybody thinking about whether Ohio State had OTA workouts? Is anybody thinking about how much the left tackle's making? You're not. So the point is, the game hasn't really been ruined at all. If that moment feels different, if that moment is ruined, then college football has ruined itself. But I think college football is extremely resilient. Like it is extremely strong. It's the redwood. You could chop a redwood down, but you don't do it with 5 or 10 swings. You don't do it with 5,000 or 10,000 swings. It'd take a lot to chop down a redwood. All concentrated, all at one spot on that tree. And don't do it because you'll get arrested. But point being, it takes a lot to ruin college football. That's a byproduct of how great it is.
That's an interesting point. I'm gonna pause it right there. I want to put this question out there too. Shout out Chase. Chase is in the chat, man. Chasing the Fast Break Show. That's our guy Chase, man. Hope you're safe on that road, man. Hope everything's going well for you guys. But yeah, I feel like that's a very interesting point right there, Jaisha. And everybody listen, this is my question to you guys. I'm gonna pose. Do y'all agree with what he's saying? Meaning that a lot of people do feel like, oh, college football has been ruined. College sports have been ruined. NIL is taking over. Transfer portal is taking over. But he's kind of got a point, though. We don't talk about that stuff when Georgia's in Tuscaloosa playing Alabama and, the game's on the line and that play happens, or Ryan Williams, the one we discussed yesterday, watching John Gruden, right? Doesn't convert, and or he converts, he goes on the goal, and he beats Georgia, right? Like in that moment, we're not talking about how much guys are getting paid, who transferred. We weren't talking about Caleb Downs. I saw somebody mention him in the chat. We're not talking about any of those guys in that moment. We're locked in on what's in front of us, right? Some good football games. So I get what Josh is saying when he's saying, like, college football can't be as ruined as people are saying it is. We still are enjoying Saturdays. We still are paying money to go to these games. We're still having the time of our lives week in and week out, supporting our favorite teams. But he's going to dive into some more, and we'll get to that in a second because we got to hit this next break right here. But think about that. I want to get y'all's responses to that. If you guys got an opinion on that, 205-342-9904 is the number one. I want to get y'all's thoughts on that for sure. Do y'all feel like college football, college athletics in general, truly is ruined, truly has been affected by everything? Or do you agree with Josh that, yeah, we might complain in slow times like right now during the off season, but once, fall comes around, football is football, basketball is basketball in the spring, we're just enjoying that, and it's really not as, messed up as we might like to say. Think about that because I want to get y'all's thoughts. Drop that in the comment section here on YouTube, inbox in the app, or call us 205-342-9904. We're going to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Go inside.
Let's see. I think the part that hurts as a fan is seeing guys leave and not benefit them. J.C. Latham was talking about how it really didn't help 95% of the guys who left was a dude at Bama and nobody now. You know what, Carson? I appreciate you bringing that up. That was the other video that I wanted to get to. We'll get it. We'll dive into that video too because I think it's like 10 minutes. They had clipped a portion of that. I mean, obviously he was on the podcast episodes probably way longer, but there was like a 10-minute portion of him talking about some Bama stuff. Thank you for that reminder. Normally I bookmark this stuff, but I think I saw it on YouTube and I forgot to bookmark it there. Call in Q06. I want to hear it, man. I want to hear it. I think as we dive into get deeper in this video, I think he kind of gives some context on some of the responses he was getting too. But I think it's an interesting topic because, I mean, again, we talk about it all the time. Oh, it feels different, right? Everything's changed, this and that. But do game days feel that much different? I don't think I agree with them. I don't think they feel really hardly any different. Now, obviously, like if you lost one of your best players the first few games, for example, Caleb Downs is brought up again. First few games, people were kind of talking about, oh, Caleb Downs, because that was a big time player that we had lost. Then over the course of next few games, over the course of the year, you see Keon Sabb out there balling, right? Kind of, I'm not saying it's like, oh, we just forgot about him. I mean, I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, he left, I'm gonna start trashing him. Hell no. That dude is one of the best safeties that I've seen in years. And is going to be a top 10 pick easily. But the good news is with the guy we brought in terms of his impact, man, hardly felt the loss of Caleb Downs. And so at that point, I do agree with Josh. I mean, the game days don't feel much different. Now, obviously, if stuff starts happening, like I was mentioning, where you potentially see some changes to Oh, we back, Jaisha?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I muted the stream, so I didn't even realize we were already back. All right, welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition. I was talking to the chat. I didn't even realize we were back because I muted the stream, and yeah, sorry about that. Chase normally gives me a little timer thing, so I know to look out for that. But I'll just make sure I leave that on. All right, so basically what I was saying, if you guys missed, I don't know what got cut off, but basically I was saying how game days to me don't feel much different. And as long as that's the case, then I think people should be fine with it. But how long will that be the case? I don't know, given that this whole lawsuit and everything that's, in the works could change a number of things. But also, Carson, the other thing I was mentioning was Carson mentioned J.C. Latham was on a podcast. We're going to go to that here in a little bit after we finish with Josh Pate's video. There's a lot of good stuff on that. We'll try to break that down when we get to some time. But Anyway, 205-342-9904 is the number. We got QD in here as well. He says college football, the game has not changed, but its off season has changed due to the portal. I agree 100%. But are we good with that though? That's the follow-up. Are we good with that? Are we like Josh where we're like, all right, well, the game hasn't changed, so we're fine. College football is not ruined. Or are we saying like, yeah, game days are still good. We appreciate that, but we're still bummed that the other small details of it have changed and don't feel the same. Like, I'll be honest, like, and he's going to talk about this in a little bit about even recruiting. Like, he doesn't even really focus on recruiting. Pat, who calls the show regularly, man, love Pat. Pat loves recruiting. Pat always breaking down recruiting. Pat knows way more about recruiting than me and probably almost anybody. Number one, because he's always studying and he knows the stuff. But two, I don't even dive into it like I once did. Not that we never were like big on basically the whole like we never on our show, we never went like heavy on recruiting anyway, right? But we paid more attention to it. Like now I don't even hardly look at it. And why? Just because there's so much change. Now when we get close to signing day, I'll look at our guys. You know what I mean? I'll look at the players that we have or that people want me to look at, and I'll give my thoughts on that. But it's just so different, and it almost feels like a waste of time because even if you do land them, I hate to say like this, you don't know who's going to be there. I almost treat it as if it's like this. Just like in the draft, like I'm a Panthers guy, I played for the Panthers. I do not sit there and look at all these college guys like, oh, I hope we get this guy. Whoever we get, I focus on them, and then I focus on the team that we have that year, man. And then I just kind of go off of that. And I think that's what college football has kind of come to. You don't know who's going to be on your team, who's coming in, who's going out. It's almost easier just to focus on the guys that you got and just keep it simple. And that's at least what I want to do. All right. We got folks on the phone lines. All right. Jaisha's got the chat system going now. So she's got our list here. Speaking of Pat, we got him on the phone lines. We'll pause the video. You guys know how I like to do. If we're ever breaking something down, listening to something, watching something, if you guys get on the phone lines or you guys chime in, we go straight to you guys. So that's what we're going to do. 205-342-9904. Pat, you're up first. Pat, welcome in, man. I forgot to tell you. Well, I haven't had a chance to, but I got to see some of these guys that you were talking about in terms of being here this weekend, Pat. You're right. There's some good talent here that was visiting. Now, I hope to see we land some of these guys, but I didn't see your quarterback, by the way, though. I did not see the quarterback. I apologize. I didn't see him, but the other Jet, the safety, Kobe Bryant's nephew, you didn't tell me he was 6'5", Pat. I mean, that's rare.
He's closer to 6'6". But and you understand his growth plates are still open. He's not 18 years old anymore, and he's Kobe Bryant's nephew.
Yeah, man. You didn't tell me all that, Pat. I didn't.
He grow himself into a DN. You see what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? One of the first things I said to somebody when they were telling me that, like, 'cause I didn't know he was Kobe Bryant's nephew or anything, and I was like, I wonder, with that frame, 6'5" and some change, and that type of athleticism, man, I've seen not a lot, but I've seen a couple other guys that were similar to that in high school. They moved him down to like an outside linebacker, not like an edge outside linebacker, but like off the ball outside linebacker, because they end up filling out being about 230, 235. And in today's game, you can be a little bit lighter like that and play in the box. I was like, man, I wouldn't even be shocked if he ends up sliding down into that type of role. There's a guy that played for the Redskins. It's Josh Harvey Clemens, man. Kind of reminds me of that type of guy. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but if you look him up, he's a little similar. But anyway, I was like, man, the versatility that he could have just given his frame, his athleticism, the genes, that dude, he might be special for real.
Yeah. Hey, the guy coming in this weekend, Ponatoski, he's a Gatorade Player of the Year in Ohio. He's a number 16 or so baseball player in the whole United States. He's got a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Now,
he's the 98?
I caught in JUCO, and I had a pitcher throwing 95. I had to put I had a good, I think it was Sonoma or something like that, a catcher's mitt. I had to put a football knee pad in the palm of my hand to keep from stone bruising my hand. And if you miss that ball and it's going 95 hitting you, you better catch it. You better catch it. Because that'll hurt you. And after 7 innings, he can still throw 95. But what I called about today, you was talking about advertising and different things and what they're going to do. I got an issue with the university, and I got tickets now where I can actually see the numbers and letters on the players' uniforms to tell who they are. But those poor people up in the upper part, in that upper deck, in that upper part of that upper deck, them taking the around the jumbotrons, and I understand that's prime advertising area. Make all the advertising around the banners. I don't care if you put 4x8 signs down around the field or you put more electronic signs around the outside of the field. I don't care. And make people sit their butt in the seat and not on the sideline where you can actually see what it is. They can do that. I worked the sideline when you were playing. I was working the east side gate. I actually let you through my gate, or at the time Coach Saban started bringing them out of the stands. And I knew all the players that came in. Talking about recruiting. Did I follow recruiting back then? I knew them by face and name, so that when they came in the gate, I could say, "Welcome to the house that Bear built." And but what I'm talking about is those poor people sitting up in that upper deck. If we want to sell those seats, which those seats are very important to us too, besides those advertising dollars, and getting people up there buying hot dogs, hamburgers, and let $12 or $13 cups of Coca-Cola that cost us 25 cents to make. We have got to do a better experience for them with the jumbotrons, for them being able to see the replay of the game or if they missed it.
Yeah, I agree.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, the fan experience for the people that don't have the $5,000. Some of them are up to some seats that I've got I'm in line to get. I've been waiting to get those seats now for 12 years or better, and I'm still going to have to pay about $2,500 per seat just for a right to buy the ticket or more. And I've been waiting that long to buy those seats. Well, and some of them are $5,000 to be able to get in that lower bowl in places where you want to be. Damn. However, but that's just, people don't understand that when you go tell them that you want $300 for a football ticket, they think you robbing them. That's a lie. You ain't even getting your money back at $300 a ticket.
Yeah, well, I mean, prices just climbing everything, it feels like, but especially, I mean, sporting events are almost getting out of hand, but the problem is
it's getting where the person that makes $25 an hour may get to go to one game a year. He can't go to all of them. He ain't making enough money. If you're not making $75 an hour, and there ain't a whole lot of people out there making $75 an hour, you can't go to all the games. But, I travel with a team anywhere that's within driving distance and fly sometime. But it costs a lot of money. But I don't drink and I don't smoke just like you, and so I'm not wasting money on stuff like that. But it costs a lot. And I know I complain, I sound like I'm whining, but I'm talking about all the other poor fans that sit up in the top of that upper deck. They deserve to be able to have a jumbotron that they can look at and be able to see something they missed.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, the unfortunate thing is once this goes through with the whole $20.5 million thing allotted to the players, I would imagine there's probably going to be some potential ticket price increases or something, right? Because what they're going to have to do,
that's no issue if you make it a good experience. Hey, I don't mind paying an extra $50, $100 a ticket, whatever it's got to be.
Dang, I don't know. You might have it. I don't know. Some people might not feel that way. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Especially with everything else being expensive. That's good though that you are willing.
You understand they got to go up. I mean, hey,
naturally they have to. Naturally, they do have to, regardless with that. Just like anything. I mean, inflation stuff goes up, but I'm saying in terms of just they're going to find ways to generate that $20.5 million. Hopefully, it's not passed on the fans too much. That's why I mentioned potential patches on jerseys, maybe field. And I know we have like the advertising on the like the little thing around the stadium, but maybe on the field, right? You just, there's so many things that they could do. I'm just saying people should have a heads up that could look a little bit different, because they're going to have to find a way to generate $20 more million, because it's not like they just wanted to say, hey, all right, we're just going to take another.
Yeah, get them to play with. Back
yeah, no, they're going to try. Yeah, hey, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. But anyway, like I said, I had a real issue when they brought a NASCAR out on the field, and I realized there's a lot of rednecks in here that love NASCAR, but those people only make left turns. They can't make a right turn to save their life. You know that, Christy?
Wait. Wait, why didn't you like the NASCAR on the field? It wasn't on the field though. I thought it was in the tunnel.
NASCAR's only make left turns. They cannot make a right turn to save their butt. They go around the field in left turns, go around the track, left turns only. That's a joke, man. Come on.
Yeah, no, but I don't think it got on the field. I think it was in the tunnel, right?
Well, nine came out on the field, made a whole lot of noise.
Oh,
yeah. They rode him out to the edge of the field. I was there. Just hurt my feelings. I was saying, I mean, is a university in that bad a shape for money at the time I saw that?
Nah, well, I don't know. Maybe with this stuff coming up. Pat, we got to hit this break, man. I appreciate you, brother.
But we got to figure out that if that $20 million is coming out of the general budget and not actually from the NCAA. See, I thought all that money was coming from the NCAA revenue sharing off the top.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but from the people that I spoke to, it's more so from the university and their budget.
Well, okay, so that's why so many of these universities are opting out of this thing. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, because unfortunately, they might not even have the choice. A lot of people don't have that type of budget. That's why I was saying things could definitely look different.
But there's probably only maybe 30, and we may be hard to find 30 universities that are actually floating above breaking even on football.
Exactly. No, you're 100% right.
You know, okie dokie. Have a blessed day. Well, thank you so much for taking my call.
Oh, thank you, Pat. Be easy, man. Be blessed. We'll talk soon. Yes, sir. All right, we got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this Talking Tuesday edition. Carson, Q, I see you guys. We're going to you on the phone lines when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick timeout. I'll be right back.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Steve DeSager.
The Mets beat the Dodgers in 10 innings, 4-3. Meanwhile,
QD says we just need one portal window. Yeah, no, I agree. Just do one window. I think that'd clean up a lot. Let me just double check to make sure. The people in the building told me that the schools are going to be paying that $20.5 million. Yeah, schools will be allowed to directly make payments to their athletes up to a tentative annual revenue sharing cap of $20.5 million. See, but I was with Pat. I was the one thinking that
regionals, Murray State wanted.
I was the one thinking that, like the NCAA or some type of NCAA figure where they were going to distribute. I don't know why I thought that, but Pat thought it too, so it wasn't just me. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch support experts. I just got done talking with Pat, and so far we've been discussing. First, we were talking about the state of college football, right? Does it feel different? Yes, no. Then we started, breaking down a little bit of this video from Josh Pate. Didn't get too far into it, but his perspective initially, off the bat at least, was that, yeah, people talk about college sports being ruined, but are they really though? Because his test or his measure is the game day experience, those fall Saturdays. Do those still feel the same? If so, in his opinion, college football isn't so much ruined. I also mentioned, and we'll dive a little bit more into this because this is definitely very interesting, the whole topic about the revenue sharing. What it really is schools are allotted that amount out of their budget. So as you could imagine, they're not just going to say, okay, yeah, we just got $20 million now, we'll pass out to the student. No, they got to find a way to come up with $20.5 more million, at least close to that number, because why? Nobody was just, think about all the other things that they have to pay for and budget for. Hardly anybody's going to just have $20 million extra. I guess we could look it up. Let's do this real quick. Let's see. Alabama's revenue. I don't know. University of Alabama revenue. Let's see what that was. Athletic revenue. Thank God for AI and Chat GPT. But then we're going to have to find the expenses too. It says Alabama reported $234.8 million in revenue for the athletic department in the 2024 fiscal year. The department broke even on athletics with total revenues and expenses both at $243 million. So there we go. There's our answer right there. What the hell are we spending? Golly, man. Wait, that's confusing. Jaisha, how do we spend that much money? I know we talk about the food, that budget. Obviously the travel, but I'm telling you what it is football and basketball are the only schools that are probably bringing in money. Then think about it. The expenses are so high because we're covering baseball, gymnastics, softball, golf. A lot of those, and love those sports. No disrespect, but they're not bringing in the money. Mike also says in the chat here on YouTube, again, we are live on YouTube. If you guys want to watch me do the show, watch the stream, watch the videos that we're playing, interact with the chat. I encourage you guys to hop on the stream at the Miller's Edge on YouTube as well. But Mike says supply and demand. He's referencing Pat. If no one pays, it wouldn't change that much for the tickets. Or excuse me, if no one pays, they wouldn't charge that much for the tickets. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Good point. And I was going to say this though, Mike. The problem is people are going to pay though. Like let's just call a spade a spade. What's going to happen is if they bump the ticket prices up, the people that used to be able to afford it, unfortunately, probably won't be able to afford it. But the people that can afford it will probably just scoop those other tickets up. You know what I mean? Like people will still attend the games. Maybe you would see some of a loss if you really jacked it up, but if they bump it up maybe $10, $20 a ticket, I'd argue that they wouldn't see too much of effect on attendance numbers, at least at a school like Alabama. Other schools might not be able to get away with that. I think we would. Let's go back to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Up next, we got Carson. Carson, welcome in.
Hey, Christian. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just out here working outside and walking around, hanging out. But I wanted to respond to Josh's video. I think, personally, I think it's a gut check. I don't necessarily think that the foundation is ruined and the sport is ruined, but that's also right now, and that's the initial reaction. What happens in 5 years? And so I think a lot of the fans, and I'm not speaking for them, but if I had to guess, a lot of people are kind of, their sentiment is like, oh, it's ruined, because they don't know what that's going to look like in 5 years with the way that it's going now, or 10 years. And so I think it's a gut check for fans. And a lot of the people who love college sports over professional sports for the very reason of what's going on right now in college sports,
Yeah.
And it's a slippery slope, because it's like, I love college sports and I love Alabama football for the reasons everything, and I love NFL too, but for different reasons, right? Like it's not the same. It's not that tradition and just the old memories that you have, and guys wanting to play for Alabama because it's Alabama, not because of the money. And I'm all for NIL. I love these kids getting paid, and I really do think the bottom line, it really helps out those guys who aren't on scholarship, those guys who are partial scholarships, walk-ons. It helps them out a ton, and I do believe that's a good thing. But if it turns into the only thing, that's when I think the foundation starts to get chipped away.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, go ahead.
And it's just one of those things where, I don't think that college football is ruined, because Josh Pate's right. College Saturdays, the fall Saturdays, they do feel the same. That Georgia game last year, they felt the same, and the Auburn game felt the same. The Tennessee game felt the same. Nothing's changed about that, but I just think it's hard, and I understand the sentiment of fans saying, oh, it's ruined, even though I don't believe it's ruined. But I understand where they're coming from, because it's like, what does that look like when you project it out in 5 years? So I don't know. What do you think about that take?
Yeah, no, I think you're right, man. In 5 years, that's a good point. I don't know how it looks, because it seems like every year something changes, and every year I'm thinking, all right, they're going to clean this up, or all right, we're going to fix this issue, and then it seems like it just further extends the current issues, right? But I think in terms of things looking different, you're right. Josh is right. Saturdays don't feel much different. Now, I will say, does recruiting feel different? Absolutely. Everybody can agree on that part. And does that is it a little bit of a bummer? I would say yes and no. The reason I say yes, obviously, is because, I went through the recruiting process. I used to enjoy, watching the development of guys and seeing oh man, I remember when this guy got here, then watched him leave and stuff like that. Like that whole thing was cool. But the reason I say no is because realistically, it doesn't have a huge like you just said. The game days are the same. We literally forget about recruiting like it's nothing once the season comes around, and it's completely fine. So
Right.
I wouldn't say it's ruined. Has it been affected? Is it different? Yes. Is it completely ruined? No. But do I agree with you that we don't really know what it could look like in 5 years? Yes. And do I agree with you that it's slowly trending more and more like the pros? Yes. I just was even talking with a lot of people up there, and it's just amazing, because we've got analysts and guys that have spent time in the NFL, and they'll even say, just this new system now in college what's crazy is it's more similar to the pros, but there's a lot of things that these guys have the luxury of doing, or things that they have the benefit that they can benefit from that pros can't. These contracts are not nearly the same. NFL, you're signed to a contract, you're under contract. There's no free agent portal in the NFL. There's no, yeah, you can hold out, you can demand a trade, but in college, what these guys, it's really crazy. Yeah, it's like, all right, I can sign here, I can get this money. All right, I can have somebody go reach out to another school and say, I'm curious about the portal. What would you offer me? And then literally the sleazy part is the agents, Carson. The agents literally go from school to school, and they have lists of guys that they say, hey, I got all these guys that are interested in maybe entering the portal, or any of them of interest to you. Well, then they say, all right, well, he's getting this, or he's been offered this from this school. What would you give? And they just go to each place, and they just run these numbers up, because what happens? They get the guy a little bit more money, maybe. But the biggest thing is they're giving themselves money, right? It's almost like the technique that I use. It's like It's like the technique I use at car dealerships, right? Which I urge anybody to do this. If you're about to trade in your car, don't just go take the first offer. Go, shop your car around. See, say, all right, this dealership offered me this, or even the same thing, the price. Like, this dealer has this model for this. What would you do? Same thing, but this is a lot more sleazy. But
I think you bring up a really good point, and I don't want to take too much of your time, but I'll speak on it a little bit. But
no, you're good. Take your time.
That's how you get a situation like Nico's at Tennessee, and I really hope that is a pivotal moment for the recruiting and NIL landscape. I really hope it has a pulse effect on the rest of recruiting. I'm not too confident in that, because of just how much money is flowing and getting passed around, but maybe people don't even care. But, that situation is what you're talking about, these agents, what you're talking about, the landscape in general. about guys just being able to shop themselves, and these contracts are not binding. But that's how you get a situation like Nico, where he thinks he's worth $5 million. And I hate to tell you, I don't really think there's any college quarterback worth $5 million a year at this point.
No,
But,
I agree with you there.
You know, and that's how you get a situation where somebody gets highly overvalued or overvalues themselves, and then goes to UCLA and he's not even making half of what he made at Tennessee because of the taxes in California. You know, it's like, and so I just think it's kind of just a bad look for the whole landscape. And hopefully there is litigation. I know Saban has talked to Congress or had the, you know, about what the parameters are on what you can get paid for, to where you can't have, you know, in the future, I would like to not see teams like Ohio State and even Alabama, to our detriment a little bit, not being able to hoard talent, where it's like you take a 4-star guy, and I'll just use that as an example, and you're able to pay those guys $1 million a year, and you're just hoarding them up because you have the money to do so. And you're just taking away from the whole landscape, whereas guys aren't going to the college anymore because of, you know, going to the Alabama anymore, or going to another prestigious school that fits their beliefs, that fits their what they want to do after college, the support system that the college offers, you know, and all of the amenities, more than just football and money. And it's like they're just going for that money, and it's like it's just not a good scene. And the transfer portal on top of that, it's like J.C. Latham. I know you mentioned the video that he was talking on the podcast with Will Compton and Taylor Lewan, but that it's true. And I hated to see that. The guys just leaving, and they're not being benefited from it. They're going to a different school because they're going to get to start, or they're getting a little bit more money, and then they turn into nobodies. And that's no disrespect towards them, but it's like you could have been a dude at Alabama. Like, we loved you, we embraced you, you know. And if you just waited your turn, or if you just sat there and bought into the process, and you know, that you could have truly benefited from it and become a legend at Alabama, like yourself.
Oh, well, thank you. I know, I appreciate that. And I always encourage guys, if they're ever wondering my advice, or if I'm just talking to anybody, like, one of the biggest things that I always say is, man, really think about what you're doing before you do it. Clearly, I mean, that seems pretty cliche and simple, but I say that because it is easy when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, and you're like, the reality is this: some of these guys really are getting, you know, 6-figure contracts. But I need to urge people to know this too, though. It's not everybody. You like maybe 20% of your team is earning 6 figures. The rest of those guys,
correct,
they're just kind of getting a modest, and I say modest because I mean like 30 grand. Like that would be like if they worked a little part-time job or something, which is, you know, better than what it was. But still, when you think about it, all the things that they have to do, it's not a whole bunch, but it's good though. It's you know, it's something. But long story short, what I'm getting at is, man, I always tell them, like, really think about this. Like, you know, yeah, you might be behind somebody right now, but are you doing everything? We used to have a saying, like, you have to do everything in your ability to make the coaches have no choice but to play you. And if you can sit there and ask yourself that, and if you feel confident, hey, I've gone out there every practice, every, you know, weight room session, every film study, I'm giving my all. You know, there's just, you know, this is not the right spot, this or that, whatever. Maybe, and you come to that decision and you think that, you know, there's more opportunities or better opportunities, then sure. I mean, if you want to explore that, that's you're right. But for somebody like me, like, that didn't even cross my mind, because number one, I knew coming out of high school, I was 205 pounds. I was going to have to develop, right? It didn't matter where I went. And I was like, why not go to a place like Alabama where I can develop behind the best of the best? And I'm going to have to be patient, and that's fine. A guy by the name of Reuben Foster, he didn't start until his junior year. I mean, it was a thing for us at Alabama. Yeah, you know, so that being said, I mean, I just tell guys, man, really, really think about the process. Think about what you're doing before you do it. Don't chase the wrong things, because at the end of the day, you know, the best things in life are normally worth waiting for. And sometimes you just got to be a little bit more patient. But no, Carson, you said some really good stuff, man. We're about to hit this break, man, but I really appreciate the call. Really good stuff.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for taking my call. I'll be sure to call back soon.
Yeah, please do. We'd love to have you, man. Take care.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good deal, man. Hey, we got a good conversation going. We're going to hit this timeout. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling. We got Q06 up next on the phone lines. But again, we're discussing the whole landscape of college football and kind of how it's changed, what it looks like, and how much has it changed, right? Are we good with it? As long as it's good on Saturdays, are we good or not? Let me know. 205-342-9904. Quick timeout. We'll be right back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Don't buy your new or pre-owned Mercedes-Benz.
Let's see. Boy, these breaks are short today. Try to hurry up, see if I can find this quick clip. I can't find it. I'll find it a little bit. Let's see. Is Q06 still on the line? Jaisha, is he still there? He should be. If he is, tell him we're going to come to him as soon as we come back.
Sunshine, the high at 88. Tonight, mostly fair with the low at 70. Warm again tomorrow, partly sunny. A few spots could see an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. The high tomorrow at 88. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Title 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. We're discussing this whole college football thing, how it's different. Are we good with it? Is it really ruined? Josh Pate feels that as long as his Saturdays aren't affected, he's all good with it. We're about to go back to the phone lines, but first, let me remind you about our friends over at R&R Cigars, rnrcigars.com. Check them out right now, 20% off of any 20 cigars. Build your perfect selection. Father's Day coming up very soon. I know you guys got a lot of people that would love a gift like this. Make sure you guys check this one out. Great deals right here on the website, rnrcigars.com. Free shipping on orders of $100 or more. And even better, if you guys are in Tuscaloosa, whether for a game, you live here, whatever, you got to stop by the mansion. It's a big white mansion here in Tuscaloosa that's literally dedicated to cigars and watching sports, hanging out. They also offer over 160 bourbons that you can pair up with your cigars. Drink responsibly. Make sure you guys check them out. If you guys want to go watch your favorite sporting events, check out the best humidor in the Southeast, the best deals, the best drinks, the best times over there at R&R Cigars. Again, that is R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. All right, we got Q06 on the line. ¿Cómo estás, Q06?
Shout out to Chase out there. Shout out to my cousin Wyatt Fulton, and Daisha back at the stands doing her thing. Man, Christian, we got some of the best callers in the world on this show, man. I mean, they bring it down.
We do.
Let me just tell you, the whole experience with Pace talking about. You said over the weekend that these kids want to take pictures with the jerseys and everything. How about walking out onto the field to the tunnel of Saban Field? 90,000 people. I mean, that's just got. How did you feel when you did, Christian? I mean,
man, well, I'll say this. Well, yeah, well, I had the luxury of walking out just the regular tunnel, from the locker room, which is no better feeling than that. Walking behind Coach Saban as he leads us out, we stop. Right when the tunnel meets the field, waiting on everybody else, and run on out there, the band playing all that stuff. But these guys have the luxury of having a whole custom-built tunnel to walk into the stadium to do the Champions Walk. And they've got, dude, when I tell you, and I've been in there before, but like actually hanging out in there while my brother was, mixing music and stuff. I mean, the LED board literally stretches the entire tunnel. You can change the video boards, the graphics, whatever. I mean, it's got like the lights. I mean, it literally looks like one of the nicest clubs or something that I've ever seen. I mean, it's insane, man. So these guys, they've got some good benefits around here.
I mean, I'm paying $262 a ticket to come to the Vandy game, just to sing Dixieland Delight, sing Friends in Old Places, sing it, you know. But hey, Christian, ain't nobody listening at work. My boss is paying for it this year. They don't know it yet, but they paying for it. That's why I went $260. I went big, you know. But
there you go. Hey, put charge it on their card if you can, man.
Hey, shout out to the city of Indianapolis and the mayor for listening. Shout out, they ain't listening, but anyway, shout out if y'all listening. I appreciate the love this fall on the Vandy game. But really, that experience, Christian. He's saying college game day ain't what it is, man. Nick Saban and my guy doing the morning podcast on ESPN, it's electric. You know, it's electric. What's my punter's name from Alabama, from Indiana? It's
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee. Yeah, I mean that makes college game day come back to being real. But keep in mind, you got Nick Saban involved.
Yeah,
so I don't think much has changed up. I mean,
but what about like the actual like games themselves? Like, do you feel like those have changed? Do you think since NIL and transfer portal, like the whole experience, whether you're watching it at home, whether you're attending a game, that's the biggest question. Because to Josh Pate, which and I agree with them, I haven't noticed any real changes with that, and that's the beauty of it, because that's really what I guess is like the big ticket, right? Is the actual game itself. Do you feel like you've noticed any changes there or no?
I have not to me. And, you know, even though Caleb Downs and some other guys left, don't get me wrong, it's going to sound crazy, Christian. I get butterflies in my stomach 11:30 in the morning on Saturday, because if we get beat by 11:30 at night, I got to hear it all week at work. I got to hear, Alabama lost, because everybody hates Alabama. It's Big Ten country up here. Everybody pulls for everybody in the Big Ten. So for me, I want the 11 guys that are out in that field to represent. Do I get pissed off and mad because now they're jumping on money? They're switching up teams. I don't feel like I know the same kids every year. No, I don't like that experience of football. But, man, Alabama football on a Saturday afternoon or under the light, oh, my goodness gracious.
Is there something that would make you draw the line, Q? Like, is there something that if they say this whatever thing happened in college football, you would say, I'm drawing the line, I'm done with it? Is there anything, or you're just like, you know what, man, as long as Alabama's playing football,
they're close right now, Christian. All this NIL money, it's really close right now. I give you a prime example. When Mbakwe was talking about transferring and you know, he's talking about he's going to leave, he's going to hit the portal, and you know, everybody just all wrapped around and try to get money to get him to stay. Man, Coach Saban would have been like, holla, peace out, man. You know, take off, you know, because guys need to get bought in. You know, they're not bought in right now like they used to be. But you know, also too, you got to keep that drunk off the field. You know, you got to keep that you know, keep Will out of the locker room. I mean,
I haven't seen him, man. I haven't seen him up here. I'll be honest, man. I mean, this spring, I was out there a decent amount. I didn't really see too many guests. I mean, you got to just think about this. So I think you know, for the first year with them coming in here, I mean, I think they were kind of feeling everything out. I think you got to think about it too. They probably didn't want to come off like too closed off or doing, you know what I mean? I think they were trying to let people get to know them, which I think was, you know, the right thing to do. I mean, you just took over for the GOAT, Coach Saban. People want to know, like, who are these new people? What's their process? And I think they were trying to go about it like that, kind of have some fun and kind of get people on board. But I think year two, you can just kind of tell, man. I mean, I could be wrong, but I haven't seen. What's that?
Are they going to still be playing music at practice?
Yeah, no, they still have the music, but I'm telling you, what's crazy is like last year, you know, everybody talked about it. It was like now I think it's just kind of like it's a part of it. Like I don't see guys looking like they're distracted. I don't like it's almost like it's just in the background, but guys are out there to practice. Like I promise you, if I thought it was like a big distraction, I would tell you. I'd be honest with you. I think at this point guys are used to it now. Initially, probably since it was new. And they weren't used to hear, like if I was playing here and then my senior year we just randomly had music, I could see that being totally different, everybody freaking out. But I think they've kind of gotten over that newness of it, and now it's just a part of it.
Gotcha. Cool. Hey, man, I appreciate good conversation here. I think Tate might be just overreacting a little bit out there if he feels that it's gone, because the experience is still real. I mean, like I say, I'm driving 486 miles to come down and watch the game, $200 a night for hotels, and then all this for that. Not to mention how much it costs to park, how much it costs. Man, it's a lot.
They're gonna get you on that parking, man. That's one thing you got to make sure you budget in there. I mean, people, they get the ticket, the hotel, man, parking. These people throw a $75 parking spot on you just to park in front of their little apartment condo down here.
Hey, listen, I found a movie, Christian, called Cable Girl. You can watch it all in Spanish. I have learned so much off of this show the last 2 days. I mean, you can binge watch it, but man, it is just. It's
I'm gonna have to look into it. You said Cable Girl?
Yep. You got to have Netflix, so you got to spend that money for Netflix.
That's fine. I got Netflix. I'll check it out, man. I appreciate the recommendation.
Hey guys, y'all take care, man. God bless. Have a good week, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You too, Q. Good deal. All right, we gotta hit this next time out. We're rolling. We're rocking and rolling. This is Talking Tuesday. It's exactly what we want, man. We want to talk with you guys. So really good conversations going. So we're gonna take this time out. We come back. We got George up next. Plus, I'm gonna read some of these chats that we got here on YouTube and see what you guys have to say. But all that coming up right after this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Hey, Bama fans, this is quarterback Jalen Milroe for my friends at Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Before you shop anywhere else for a Dodge Ram truck, a Jeep, a Dodge Challenger, or a Dodge Charger, shop local. An amazing selection of new and pre-owned vehicles are on the lot now. Go see for yourself at 550 Skyland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa, or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This Father's Day, help Dad be all he can be with a gift from the Home Depot, because he's not just Dad, he's the handyman of the house, the plumber in a pinch, and the emergency mechanic. Upgrade his gear this Father's Day with the Husky Mechanics 270-piece tool set from the Home Depot. Now on special buy for $119, a $695 value. For every kind of dad, find the perfect gift this Father's Day at the Home Depot.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, it's Gary Harris. Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Make sure and tune in. The Rocket Man, Drudy Arman, will break it all down for me on the Gary Harris Show. Also, the Patterson Law Firm segment, plus your phone calls. That's Tuesday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk.
All right, we got a couple minutes here. Let's see what you guys got. I sit here and listen to fans complain that the NIL players have no loyalty to schools anymore. If you believe that most of the players that Saban signed came to Bama out of loyalty, you are crazy. Well, I will say this. Coach Saban wasn't paying he was not breaking the bank on NIL. I'm just being completely honest with you. I mean, that's why they used to joke around and say the Saban discount. I mean, he genuinely wasn't really like paying a whole bunch. Guys could have gone to other schools and earned a lot more money. So it might not necessarily been they're coming here for loyalty, but they were coming here because they wanted to be coached by the GOAT. And they wanted to play at the University of Alabama. I mean, again, I still got these right here. But I mean, when you come on a visit and you see this on a desk, you know what I mean? Like, that's why guys are coming here. I mean, you'd probably sacrifice maybe a little bit of money to come play and get a chance to, win some of those. Which the funniest that this, you guys see how big this is, right? Funny story. So like this was from my senior year when we obviously we got our ass kicked in California and lost the national championship game. So this is the SEC championship ring, but it's so big and the leadership group designs them. And so I was a team captain that year. It was one of four. And I was very involved with the design process, right? Well, they didn't tell us how big they were. So I helped choose this design. Beautiful looking ring. Problem is they didn't explain how big it was. You guys see how tall it is? Like, hold on.
Mostly fair with a low at 70. Warm again tomorrow, partly sunny. A few spots could see an afternoon shower or thunderstorm.
What do you do with this, man? I think I'm just going to put it on number one. Just do what I know like that.
Tide 100.9. It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We were reading this comment here. PC Bread says, I sit here and listen to fans complain at the NIL that the NIL players have no loyalty to schools anymore. If you believe that most of the players that Saban signed came to Bama out of loyalty, you're crazy. And what I responded to him was saying that, we weren't really paying like what other schools were paying, contrary to what a lot of people believe. Not saying you believe that, PC, but I'm saying a lot of people just assume, oh, it's Nick Saban, it's Alabama, they're paying all this money. But the reality was we were paying a lot less than, other schools. And we were able to do that because people wanted to come to Alabama. People wanted to play for Coach Saban and play for national championships. I mean, until what was it, like his last year, like every one of his class or something like played for it. I can't remember what it was, but he had a stat where like literally every one of his classes had won a national championship until like one of his last couple of years. But anyway, one would argue that, I mean, that might not have been loyalty, but there was a reason outside of the NIL that they were coming here, which I think actually a lot of people would agree. But PC responded, yes, exactly. But that was Saban. I'm talking about post Saban. DeBoer does not have that discount and has not earned that. So fans losing it because these players are not loyal need to wake up. So basically, it sounds like you're saying like you expect players to not really have that loyalty because one of the main things they were loyal to is no longer here, as in Coach Saban. Which I understand what you're saying. I mean, that makes sense. But I will say, DeBoer has actually proved he might not have proven what Saban has proven on the field, right? I mean, I love DeBoer, man. Great dude, great coach. But yeah, he said facts. So I get what you're saying. He might not have been able to prove that, he's going to do anything close to what Coach Saban done. I think he'll be a successful coach, no doubt. But, to recreate what Coach Saban done, I don't think anybody really would do that, at least not for a very long time. But what he has proven, though, is what I mentioned earlier, PC, was that he was able to retain his roster. In fact, I'm pretty sure he was the only coach to do that post-spring, which that means if we're talking about loyalty, believe it or not, ironically, we actually have some of the most loyal guys on this team, believe it or not, or in terms of a college football team, because they all chose to stay. And that's, coming from a team and a roster that actually does have some deep positions where you would expect a couple guys to at least put their name in there. But sure enough, man, we retained it. And I'm just going to tell you right now, we weren't paying a bunch of money when we had Coach Saban. I'm just going to tell you now as well, to my knowledge, obviously we participate in NIL, but we're not on the level of some of these other schools, man. I mean, there's other schools that, definitely would pay some of our guys even more than what they make here. I know that to be a fact. And so that actually is a good sign that players still are, respecting they're respecting, playing here at the University of Alabama, not just, because of Coach Saban, but also because, the history, the resources. That's a big one. Coach Saban's gone, but Jeff Allen's still here. The weight room, all the resources that come with it, those are still around. And you can talk to some of these players. Some of these players will tell you, if you ask some of the starters, they had opportunities to go elsewhere and make more money, but they chose to stay. Why? The culture that, they appreciate being a part of, the resources. They feel like this is the best place for their development. So that's always good to know. But I appreciate that, PC. Really, really good conversation going on in the chat. All right, let's go back to the phone lines because I know we got a couple people lined up. George, we got our buddy George. George, I think we missed you yesterday, man. I'm sorry about that. We got tied up with time, but glad to have you back. How's everything, George?
Yeah, everything's good. There are two things I wanted to touch on. I wanted to dovetail what you all talking about. What we were talking about yesterday. You were the best athletes that were football players at Alabama. And I had a short list. I guess the first one would be Joe Namath. And the reason I put him there, I've been able to talk to some people that played with Joe Namath back in the day. And every one of them said he was the best athlete they had ever seen. He could play basketball, football, and they always said he could play pool real good. Well, doesn't take athletics, but it does take skill. And then Leroy Jordan, I remember Bear Bryant say, if he stays in the field, Leroy will get him. And then obviously you mentioned Derek Thomas. One thing I remember about him not only was that he had a lot of sacks, but when he first came to Alabama, they had him covering people, receivers and that sort of thing, and he had the quickness and the speed, and I think it came out that he could run like a 4.5. And at his size, that's great athleticism. And obviously you said Derrick Henry, and then Ozzie Newsome, Devontae Smith. And there's somebody that people don't mention is Barrett Jones. I mean, he is probably the most decorated football player at Alabama. Outland Trophy winner. When he played guard, he was All-American. When he played tackle, he was All-American. When he played center, he was All-American. And I mean, he's got to be a tremendous athlete to be able to do all those things. And then Dwight Stevenson, he was our center. And then when he goes to the pros, nobody got a sack while he was the center at Miami. I mean, he's just fantastically strong. And if you ever hear old Howie Long talk about going against him, he said he was so quick and so strong, halftime Howie was on his back. Dang. And then obviously Henry Ruggs, with his quickness and speed, he's got to be a super athlete. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you want to go old school, Don Hudson. So that's kind of my list of the best athletes that were football players. It just sort of came to my mind immediately.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great list. I like the addition of Barrett Jones on there in terms of accolades and what he accomplished. I didn't think about that, but he was, man, heavily decorated as well. It's so hard when we throw these, hypotheticals or these questions like that out because there's so much history when it comes to Alabama, and there's so many talented players that played here that, I mean, it's almost like you can't even really be wrong. You know what I mean, George? There's so many options.
We've had so many national championship teams. I mean, it's hard to pare down a list. Because anytime you have a national championship team, you got some fantastic athletes on that team that you can't out. And I mean, it's very hard for me to, I probably could name 10 more that probably are deserving. Now, getting to what we're talking about today, Christian, I mean, I'm hardcore Alabama fan, as you know. I go back to 1960. And I mean, I've been to a ton of games. I mean, when they lose, my day is ruined. But I will say this: the last 3 or 4 years, I haven't been able to personally go to any games because I've had some other responsibilities. But I watch it on TV, and I found out that watching it on TV is a lot. Really, it's easier, less expensive. I don't have to wait in line to go to the bathroom or to get a beer out of the refrigerator. I don't have to pay $8 or $9 for a beer.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just easier. But I will say this, since remember football season in Alabama, you got football season, you got spring training season, you got recruiting season, and then you got summer training season. Now there is just football season because, like you have already stated, recruiting is kind of gone. Spring training, is going. I mean, so you're losing your fandom. And I will say this: my fandom has kind of deteriorated. I mean, I still care about it, but not like I used to. I mean, and the reason being is we're talking so much about stuff that's not football, and like you have said, you don't get to see any players develop. You said Reuben Foster. Remember when he was on the football team, he killed people. And now you're not seeing these players develop to see him as a junior or a senior. Just like you were on the kickoff squad. We watch you develop and get better and better, and say, well, we're going to lose so and so, but there's old Christian. He can play outside linebacker. Can't wait to see him, because your second team and your third team and a lot of your first team is being poached. So you don't have that recall ability of seeing the same player develop and get better and better and better. And that is part of football, watching a team develop and become a team. And you cannot tell me that if somebody's being played right now, it's probably they love Alabama, but they're being some of them, like you say, 20% of them are being paid, pretty good money. You can't tell me that in the years to come, they're not going to try quite as hard. Just like, I used to be an NBA fan 25, 30 years ago. But because I had gone to a couple of games, and as the years have gone by, I don't see, unless it's the playoffs, the players playing as hard as they should. And I kind of lost my fandom. And to this point, I don't even watch the NBA finals anymore. And if you look at what the TV's showing, the eyes are not on the TV like they used to be either. They're losing interest. And I just have a feeling that's going to happen with college football. Don't get me wrong, game day is still exciting because we're also daggum competitive.
Right.
But in between the ending and in the beginning of the season, we're not quite as fired up, or I'm not as been. And I think a lot of it has to do, we're talking more about NIL, transfer portal, and, the players, there is something about college sports and the pageantry that is going to be lost. And I just hate to see it, but I just see in the future that if we don't take better care of our fans, maybe people will still go to the stands, but I think the eyeballs are going to go off the TV. Is things don't seem to get better. They don't get, as like everybody likes to say, put some guide rails on the NIL and the transfer portal. And those are kind of my thoughts. Christian, what's your thoughts on what I had to say?
Yeah, I thought that was all really. I thought that was all really good stuff, George. I would say in terms of, the lack of attention on the sport right now. One other thing I would add was that with the spring being different, the cancellation and the alteration or modification of the spring games, I think that definitely had affected. It affects some of the attention on the sport right now, because think about it. Normally, we're looking at all these different spring games and we're talking about who we're excited to see, but there wasn't really a game that was played. It was more so just another practice. So I think that kind of hindered it, just because I'll just be honest with you. I went out there. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good little event. It just felt like, fan day during the fall, just during the spring. I got to catch up with a whole bunch of former players were here for it, but just being transparent, the turnout in terms of, the fans physically here in the stands to watch it. It literally was a fraction of what it typically would be if it was an 8-day event. Now, was that because of the way the season went last year? Was that because of, the change? Probably a little bit of both, but I think that also affects it as well. And then in terms of what you were saying about, maybe eventually, people kind of turning their attention away from it, and then not, or at least in hoping to try to get some guardrails. I think the guardrails are slowly but surely coming. I think the revenue share is a start, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're also going to start trying to actually monitor, what NIL deals are taking place, which I don't know why that was never a thing. There should have always been, your compliance department or, I guess like a general committee that oversaw, the deals and just said, hey, let's place a value on what this deal is genuinely worth. And it needs to be within that range. If not, we're not going to approve it. I think that kind of stuff is coming. I think what is going to happen, George, is once we get to a point where everything is kind of like figured out. I'm not saying it's perfect, but we at least have, some rules or some ideas on how it works. I think it'll settle down, and I think people will just kind of get adjusted and acclimated. It's no different than, let's just call a spade a spade. I'm not trying to bring up politics. I don't want to do that. But it is a similar example where, when there's a change of administration or whatever, no matter what it is, there's always going to be a bunch of people that, think like, oh, everything's going to be so different. But what happens, George, after a few months, like, yeah, there's going to be some changes, but we kind of keep moving and we get used to stuff. And next thing you know, it's not as, as drastic as you thought. I think that's kind of how this will be. There might be some changes, but I don't think they'll be so drastic where it really just ruins everything. At least that's how I feel.
Well, Christian, another thing is, no doubt about it, because I've been watching Alabama football since 1960. I'm old school. And, from, I say 1960 till about 2 or 3 years ago, college football kind of stayed the same in a way. Granted, some of the rules changed a little bit, but as a whole, it stayed the same. So that means when there's changes now, it's hard for me to accept those changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas somebody has just started following, Alabama football 8, 9, 10 years ago, they've seen more changes then, and they kind of get used to it. So they accept the changes. So probably a lot of the young people now that are watching it, this player movement does not bother them as much. But another thing that kind of bugs me, they've taken the student, have you heard this, out of the student athlete. And I often wonder, someone who's given all this money to this player, and suppose that player is not going to school and is about to flunk out, that guy that's giving that big money is probably going to go to Greg Burns and say, hey, if he flunks out, you ain't getting no more money from me. I mean, is that going to have an effect on it? Think about that. I mean, you want my $5 million or $10 million? You better keep that kid in school. You better get to that instructor and say, you better pass him.
That's definitely, I mean, something to think about. I will say this, from my experience as a student athlete, and even, kind of hearing some stuff as of recent, if anything, man, I've even heard recently kind of the opposite. I heard of I'm not going to get specific, but there was one guy that unfortunately his professor wasn't, let's just say she wasn't the nicest. It's not like he was looking for any favors or nothing, but she actually was probably not the nicest to him, and he's a student athlete. So you might not have to worry about that as much as you think, at least not now, because it sounds like some of these professors, maybe they're just like, I don't even want to deal with these guys, but who knows? But maybe that was a one-off thing. I don't know. But there's something to think about. Definitely, at the end of the day, the people that are funding stuff, they're going to have a lot of say in things. I mean, we know that to be true with all types of different aspects in life.
And I hate to see us have to cut sports. I remember
that's a concern. Now that is a very valid concern that a lot of people are trying to navigate how to go about this change without that being the case, and they're doing their best to hopefully avoid that, but it could be inevitable, at least at some places, some schools, just because, I mean, what can you do, right? I mean, football is your only moneymaker, and if you're not fully investing everything you can into that,
right,
you get what I'm saying? That definitely could cause.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just, everybody thinks that this money is falling out of the sky.
No.
But you made something very clear when you showed us that our budget's just breaking even.
Yeah, and that's public knowledge. I mean, I just looked that up. So that means with the new $20 million allotment for the student athletes, we would be at a negative.
Yeah, and people don't realize, they just don't scholarships got to be paid for by something, and that's where a lot of the money is going to. And I mean, heck, I don't want us to cut sports. I mean, but it's, just like Nick Saban says, this model just can't continue on. And I believe what he says, because he is a visionary when it comes to college athletics.
He is. He definitely is. And he's very. I just love how honest he is, man. I mean, news comes out. He's chair of this commission, and next thing you know, I don't think we even need a commission. He's so funny, man. You can't make this stuff up, man. You're the co-chair of something that you're saying you don't even believe in that you think we need. It's just the funniest thing.
Well, on a positive note, I think we're going to be really good this coming year, mainly because we retained our players.
Yeah, no, I think that was huge.
Fantastic job on that. And, we're still recruiting very, very well. We got good athletes there.
No, we are. I'm telling you that the guys, the freshman class that they brought in, the guys that are here on campus, this will be their first year. I think we did a really good job with that class, and I'm excited about a number of those guys, and hopefully being able to watch them. I know we just talked about that and not really having that luxury, but I hope we do have the luxury of watching and keeping up with a number of those guys because there's some talented players. Well, George, we got about 30 seconds, man. Before we let you go, you got anything else you want to add to it?
That's all I got to say, and thanks for taking my call, and I enjoy your show.
Oh, thank you, George. Anytime, man. You take care.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Take care. Good deal. All right. Well, we got to get out of here, make room for T-Town Sports Daily. Appreciate everybody in the chat here on YouTube, all the listeners via radio, via the app. And per usual, got to thank our producer. This time we got Jaisha behind the glass. Great job. Looking forward to doing some more work with you throughout the week. But that being said, T-Town Sports coming up next right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. This has been the Miller's Edge presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We'll see you guys tomorrow.